Oh, hi, John Aravosis of Unprecedented. See, it's Hail to the Chief backwards, and that's why that's fun.
Exactly. We love that.
Yep.
Happy coming out day, sir.
I love that we can still say big homo. I thought that wasn't allowed anymore.
Oh, we're all homos, so, you know.
Exactly.
Well, can I just say, it's funny because I think it's the kids that get upset about that stuff now. Like, our generation, like, I also talk about gaydar and all. Oh, they hate gaydar. Gaydar! That's considered like a stereotype or something. I'm like, honey, if the only way you could have sex or date was going into a bar and having to hit on a straight guy,
Right.
and not know if he was straight or gay and get the shit beaten out of you. Is it that kind of show?
Yes,
that kind of
it's the regular little family-friendly show. Yeah.
To get the sheet beat out of you, as my
right.
mom says, she can't do sheet versus the other word.
Yeah.
She's
You know what?
great.
Just stay away from that whole area. Okay, go ahead.
Stay away from the whole area. But anyway, yes, gaydar is real because it was a matter of life and death for gay people.
Right. Yes.
We had to figure out.
Well said,
Yeah.
sir. Well, I mean, not well said.
Well, not well said.
Not
because
well
it
said
sounds
for a
bad,
show
but yes.
governed by the FCC, but in general.
You know what? The people on Free Speech TV enjoyed your S-bomb, so.
There you go.
Yes.
ACLU.
It's well said for other filthy people like you.
Yes.
All right, let's
Exactly.
move on. Oh, wait, I kept a tweet for you because you are we were talking about pardon me. We were talking about messaging. You know, that you and Cliff Schechter, who is your partner in crime there on the podcast, talk. You know, first of all, I was saying there's a difference between beating up on Democrats and Joe Biden, which are the only things standing between us and full-on fascism and autocracy right now, and talking about how we could message better, right? Like, one of the things, somebody had an idea about the, what are we calling it? The Build Back Better plan? Hang on a second. Oh, pardon me. Oh, that was my fault.
Yeah.
This segment is not going to the Smithsonian. Okay. Just wanted to get your thought on it. John Cooper said Democrats shouldn't cut any items in the Build Back Better bill. Instead, reduce the period from 10 years to 5 years. Everything stays in the bill, and Manchin and Sinema get the price tag under $2 trillion. It's a win-win. Plus, Dems can run on keeping these popular programs in 22 and 24. What do you think of that?
I heard about that the other day, and at first I thought, what? And then I thought, oh, God, that's really interesting. Look, the idea is, for example, Medicare. We're going to add dental benefits, hearing benefits, and what's the other one? Vision benefits to Medicare. Imagine taking those away in 3 to 5 years
Right.
when the bill runs out.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what the Republicans accuse us of. You do all these entitlements and then nobody wants to take them away. Well, nobody wants to take them away because they're really popular. And if they're really popular, maybe we should consider doing them. So I think it's actually kind of smart.
Right. Well, I mean, John, I guess the one thing everybody's been talking about, I wanted to get your takes. I'm sure you know who David Shore is. He was.
Oh yeah, I read the Ezra Klein piece. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right in the New York Times, he's telling Democrats what they don't want to hear. Just wanted to get, because you and Cliff are so uniquely good at this. But he said, here's the truly frightening thought for frustrated Democrats. This might be the high watermark of power they'll have for the next decade. It's basically a cautionary tale about what could happen. Democrats are on the precipice of an era without any hope of governing majority. The coming year, while they still control the House, the Senate, and the White House, is their last best chance to alter course, to pass a package of democracy reform that makes voting fairer and easier, to offer statehood to Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., to overhaul how the party talks and acts and thinks, to win back the working class voters, white and non-white, who have left them behind the electoral 8-ball. If they fail, they will not get another chance, not anytime soon. That's what he's basically saying, and he's been modeling campaigns since Obama. Right. So what is your take on all that? Because, you know, Chris, you got into this discussion when I was gone partially, I think, about coal miners. That is endlessly frustrating, John, that Hillary Clinton told them the truth, and Donald Trump lied to them, and they voted for Trump. Because we're bringing back all these coal jobs. And, of course, the numbers are, coal jobs went way down under Hillary Clinton was right, as she always was, always is, about, green jobs and retraining people and whatever. But, Chris made the point that most of us have never talked to a coal miner. And there is something about the way they feel liberals talk to them or look down on them. And I'm not talking about just coal miners. Right. But so what is your take on all this?
Hillary had said something recently where, again, I think Hillary's right. Democrats aren't getting reelected ever again if Trump wins the presidency. We may not have a democracy anymore. And this is no longer histrionics or exaggeration, right? We are talking about a descent into fascism if this guy gets elected again. So maybe we need to focus on some other things too, beyond just these nice policy issues that won't matter in 2 years if we become, the Soviet Union, basically. And Hillary brought it up a little more politely than I just did, but she said the same thing. She was sort of writing and saying, it's nice we're working on these issues. So yeah, that is really freaking me out. I was telling Cliff on the show the other day, I had no idea, for example, that the John Lewis, Voting Rights Act bill, I asked several friends, what do you think it's about? And they said, well, it's probably about making sure black people can vote and stuff. Well, I found out it also includes a provision that stops local state legislatures from implementing these crazy laws that say, we, the state legislature, can overrule the Secretary of State and we can pick who we think won the president election.
Yeah.
So Arizona could just say, you know what, Biden won by 10,000, but we think it was Trump. It's Trump. And send that to the Electoral College.
Yes.
To me, that's more important than childcare right now. I'm not saying we don't do the childcare stuff, but folks, it ain't going to matter if we lose the country.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're not doing it. Now, mind you, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema are the reason we're not doing it, but maybe we need to figure out how to drop a nuke on them.
By the way, I just make that sound that Roy Kent makes on Ted Lasso now whenever someone brings up Manchin and Sinema. Just, Oi! Oi! Okay.
I thought it would be a fart. A fart wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, not that you should do it, but there you go.
Still do it.
But I did it.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, now I can't stop it. Okay, it's fine.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, let me just, and a couple other points in this piece, wanted to get your take on. In the New York Times piece, the Democratic Party was trapped in an echo chamber of Twitter activists and woke staff members. It's lost touch with the working class voters of all races. It needs to win an election. Again, this is from David Shor's point of view. At the heart of Shor's frenzied work is the fear that Democrats are sleepwalking into catastrophe. I share that fear.
Yeah.
Senate Democrats could win 51% of the two-party vote in the next two elections and end up with only 43 seats in the Senate. They talk about Democrats are on the edge of an electoral abyss. To avoid it, they need to win states that lean Republican. To do that, they need to internalize that they are not like and do not understand the voters they need to win over. Swing voters in these states are not liberals, are not woke, and do not see the world in the way the people who staff and donate to Democratic campaigns do. Quickly, I think the core problem with the Democratic Party is that the people who run and staff the Democratic Party are much more educated and ideologically liberal, and they live in cities. Ultimately, our candidate pool reflects that. Shore's ire is not aimed only at the liberal wing of the party. Popularism isn't mere moderation. One of the highest polling policies in Shore's research is letting Medicare negotiate prescription drug prices, but it's so-called moderates like Sinema who are trying to strike that from the reconciliation bill. To him, that's lunacy. And to me, too. So, right? I mean, in some ways, we're fighting what the two moderates in our party are for, or we can figure out they're for, right?
I mean, God, I'd read that piece. There's like 20 different issues to unpack in that paragraph, which is funny. Right. But as far as like what worries me, okay, first of all, a couple things. We have redefined the left of the party, and I mean left of me. I consider myself a progressive, but we've redefined progressivism to be left of me, and now it's AOC. I'm fine with AOC, but let's not pretend that she's not a socialist. She admits it. The squad admits it. Democratic Socialists of America, go look at their website. The site doesn't say democratic socialism, it says socialism, and that's fine. But we have to admit that that's what it is. We've now defined progressivism as that wing of the party. All the news does it. Everyone comes on TV. Well, the progressive wing, and then they get those guys from Justice Dems or whatever. The problem is the very loud segment on the left has got the energy, which is good. But the problem is they've sort of become, they've scared the rest of the party. And as we saw with the last election, Biden likes to point this out. Biden won. He didn't win by being woke. I say woke, but meaning he didn't win by being far left. The far left candidates didn't win. And I'm worried that this stuff doesn't appeal to most Democrats, let alone most voters.
But I mean, in terms of what he's doing, John, it's as progressive as what any president's ever done. I mean, he's working with Bernie Sanders. So that's what I don't
which is great.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but that takes you back to messaging. Having said that, Biden's messaging, I think, is so bad, which is why Biden's just plummeting in the polls. The polls I saw yesterday, my God, on everything.
He bounced back up
economy.
to 50% in a CBS
Okay,
poll. So I feel like the media loves
better.
to cover Biden bad, and then when there's a bad poll, they trumpet that. It's So I
mean, and the Republicans are very good at knocking us too, is the problem. But let's face it, we all are getting. I mean, I'm getting worried about the economy now. I think there's just like this zeitgeist that the Republicans do such a good job of doing. All the disruptions we're expecting for Christmas. All the supply disruptions, which honestly, everyone's going to think, because Democrats aren't messaging on it, well, under Trump, we didn't have supply disruptions. Why do we have them under Biden for Christmas?
If you have not heard of the Sexy Liberal Podcasting Network, your podcasting superstation, you suck. I mean,
Yes.
it is. We have the smartest, funniest liberals in the country. Stephanie Miller's Happy Hour. We have John Fugelsang. We have Hal Sparks, Frangela, Final Word, and Idiot of the Week. We have Bob Seska. Oh my God. We have Jody Hamilton from The Bunker. We have Start Me Up with Kimberly Johnson. We have Unprecedented. We have the smartest, funniest podcast, period. Get it now. SexyLiberal.com.